All right, I think I'm gonna get started. Hey kid, hey Judith. So, I'm gonna get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Next Online with Wodline. Tonight, the conversation continues with Pierre Lamar Johnson. He is a father, speaker, advocate, faith leader, creative, and author of Lingers When You Don't Wipe. If you missed our last chat from last month, be sure to watch it over the next few days. You won't have any regrets. As I bring him on to join me, I encourage you to invite some more friends and families to join in the conversation. Oh, you guys are coming in kind of quick. Hello again. So let me get him on. Okay, I think I did it right. Hello there.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Thank God it's Thursday.
Thank God. Happy Friday Eve.
Yes. I put my volume up. Okay, now I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you good?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you again for joining me for a second time.
You got it. My pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Are you ready?
I'm ready. We cut up a little bit last time.
Yes, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it was.
And the folks in the chat made it even more fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Patty. Okay. I'm just gonna go right in. But did you want to say anything before we start? No.
No, I
Okay.
hope that the ancestors that our Heavenly Father will be over us tonight during this conversation. Let me not embarrass myself. Praise the Lord of hosts.
I can't. Yes. So during our last conversation, you shared you were mean, or people said that they heard that you were mean. Looking back, what do you think was the root of you being mean?
Yeah. You know, and here's the thing, and let me first start by saying that if you did watch last time, one thing that people know about me, if I am anything, I am very consistent. So I apologize in advance if everyone hears some of the same themes repeated, because it's literally how I live my life. The same advice I give to my staff that I give to people in my life, it's advice because it's what I know to be true. So one of those things is that, it's so important to identify the why behind the what, so that the what and the how will get better. And you're asking about the why, the root. I think that one of the things that I believe is that most of today's population and adults all over the world are dealing with issues of childhood PTSD. I really do. That could have been caused by family issues, religious, issues or experiences, traumatic moments having to do with abuse. So for me, I think it was all of the above. It was a bunch of things, being a man, growing up and being taught that men do certain things, that toughen up, man up. Pray for me because I see this on the back of my background. I don't want it there. So anyway, so dealing with all of those things, but then I think that for years I still function, like a functioning alcoholic. Sidebar to the deeper and the deepest and the holiness committee. This is sugar-free Red Bull in my drink tonight. So if you see me sipping, I got my coconut water, but this is Red Bull. Praise God. Because it sends you to hell. And I think that not dealing with my crap and not dealing with those traumatic issues, it was somewhat sending my soul to a hot place, a place that was not fun. So I really think that, as my grandfather said to me years ago, he said, hot going in, hot going out. He was talking about spicy food. It's hot going in. It's going to be hot coming out. you know? And here's the truth of the matter is that whatever is in you, it's always going to come out, you know? So sometimes when we allow, you know, the wrong situations or people to make deposits in our lives, at some point, those things that we experienced and interpreted as mean, it's going to come out. It was mean going in. It was mean when you internalized it. It was mean. Well, let me not talk for the group. It was mean when I internalized it. I internalized it as mean. I processed it as mean. I processed it as something that, wow, I didn't sow for this. I shouldn't have to reap it. But now I'm reaping unkindness. You know, as long as the earth remains, there'll always be seed time and harvest time. You know, you will always get back what you give out, of course. Mm. But I also believe in something called grace, and the fact that I don't have to always receive what I give out, because that is a protection that comes with what I do believe. But there's times that in a negative sense, I had to receive something I ain't so for. And I'm like, wow, why did I have to reap this as a child? Why did I have to reap this growing up? Why did I have to reap this impediment? Why did I have to reap this personality disorder? Why did I have to reap, you know, this way of thinking? It's just how I'm wired, and really I can't do anything about it. So I think it was a bunch of things that, you know, it just was received and festered in my heart, in my life, and in my mind in the wrong way, in a negative way. I don't even want to say it was in a wrong way, because at the end of the day, it all worked out. And I love hard because of the lack of love that I received and showed previously in life. But I had to go back to the root, and that's where practicing the pause came in. That after years and years, and I would be very honest with you, I didn't even think I was mean back then. I did not think that I was mean. So, but here's the thing. This is why whispers matter, right? And when you hear something, not first from others, but when you consider something in your own heart, in your own mind, and you think, like, you know, one of my friends says, you know, follow. But PJ, what does your gut say? Because your gut is usually on point. What does your gut say? And when you hear a whisper, or when you feel something in your gut that says, you know, that wasn't so kind, it starts with, how did that make someone else feel? So I experienced that later on. And I think that my mindset was already in a place because of how others treated me, you know, that there was a heightened awareness of the experience that others have with me. And then I think because I was able to now, first and foremost, give attention to the whispers that I was hearing within my own mind, within my own heart, that's when my Father, and I don't know what y'all believe, but I believe that there's a God in heaven who sits high and looks low. And that is the number one individual that I go to. That's when my Father knew, you know what, I can trust you with now the whispers that you have availed yourself to hear from me. I can trust that if now others come and share these same sentiments with you, that you will not beat yourself up, that you will not isolate yourself and knock your head up against the wall. But now I know that you will practice the pause, identify the why behind the what, go back to the root. Somebody's grandmother would say, go back to the root. You got to go back to your roots and go back to the root of this thing, because now I trust you, and I'm going to allow people to tell you what their experience was with you. So for me, to answer that question, it was just literally, there were a whole bunch of things that I had to deal with, and I had to go to the why behind the what. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't an easy journey, and to pinpoint one thing or one experience. It was a whole bunch of stuff all at the same time. And when I say all at the same time, is because really, I think that life is short, and with the amount that we go through and experience in life during the course of our lives, it's really compared to an eternal life that is yet to be experienced, and I will live forever. That I've gone through a lot in a short amount of time, as so many have gone through. But that's where it came from. That all those things that sat there, and perhaps I was taught as a man, as a person of color, that, you know, that we can man up, that we can, you know, that there, as Dr. Angelo said, that there's always a rainbow in the cloud. Yeah, we get that, you know. Consider what your ancestors went through. Consider what this person went through. And what I had to do, I had to stop allowing myself to listen to the voices that will compare the pain of others, that will make comparisons when it comes to pain. Pain is not meant to be compared. And you're not hurting more than another. But where the commonality should be and what needs to happen is the fact that we deal with our pain that may cause us, watch this, to be mean, that may cause us to be hoes. Hello, happy birthday. That may cause us to act out in ways that are not in sync with who we really know that we were created to be. That may cause us to have nasty attitudes. Come on now, I can go down the list. That may cause us to be alcoholics. I don't know what your vice is, but you got one. You know, everybody has one, and that will cause you to act out. So what is that thing? What are those things? And what category can we put them under? So that's what I had to do. And again, the fact that people started telling me that was simply because God got to a point with me. And I got to a point with myself, and we got to a point with each other that we started singing each other. In the words of Candy Burris and Nene Leakes, we see each other. We got to a point where we saw each other. And because of that, now he said, listen, you're not going to handle this the wrong way, but I know that you're going to build from there.
Wow, that was good. Okay, there's 2 questions for you. What tactical strategies did you use to press forward after the pause? How did you use the new insights from the pause to navigate differently? This is from Dr. Chadkey.
Yeah. What tactical strategies? You know, if I am anything besides consistent, as I said at the beginning, I am tactical. I am very strategic. You know, I am like my God, that I am strategic. And systems is my game. So, of course, you know, like Dr. Chad just said, you know, I did have to pause. But then I literally had to do things like this every day, right? It's as simple. I believe in lists. I believe in, writing. There will be times that I will go back, even as I've started my day, I will go back and I will write to-do lists. Even I will put things on the list that I've already completed, that I have already completed, just so I can highlight and say I completed something. I had to do simple things like this, right? Mm-hmm. After the pause, and realizing that there's something that needs to change, that there's a change, that there's a shift, there is a pivot that needs to take place. One of the things that I did, I started my day, and I would be very intentional, and I'm very intentional. I started my day accomplishing something. What is the easiest thing to accomplish? Well, I'm not going to say it's easy, but what is something that you can do right off the bat when you get up in the morning? Make your bed. Make your bed. Make your bed. And I would start off every day saying, I'm going to start my day accomplishing something, and I would make my bed. And because with dealing with yourself and really taking a good look at yourself and practicing the pause, working to get to a place you identify the why behind the what, and just simply ask, you know, why did I go through this? Why did I react this way? What ticks me off? What moves me? What makes me sad? What makes me smile? What makes me laugh? Let me get to know me. Getting to know you is not something to be, you know, just thrown off and tossed aside as if it's just, some lame or some simple experience. No, getting to know yourself, it is detailed. It takes time. It's like dating someone or getting to know someone new. Some of y'all and some of us are single because we don't want to get to know somebody else. It's like, you know, and you know, and I say that jokingly, but because ultimately we probably do, but it's like to think about, Lord have mercy, I've got to start this process of getting to know somebody. I have to get to that point where I'm going to be comfortable passing gas from somebody all over again, you know, to get to that point. But I start off, I'm going to accomplish something. This is not going to be an easy task. I'm going to start by accomplishing something. Next thing I do, tactical, right? It's the simple things, folks. Sometimes Maya Angelou said that, no, I'm sorry, it was Toni Morrison who said that we make life so complicated. And again, excuse me if I said this on the last one, but sometimes you got to repeat because there is power in repetition. She said, we make life so difficult and so over the top, but sometimes we make it small in this grandiose nature, perhaps. But she said, and we cage and fence life in. She said, but life is big, life is grand, and we have to decide what that experience is going to be. So one of the things that I've had to do is that I've had to decide that this experience, in getting through something that is difficult, identifying the cause and in the midst of the pause and identifying the why behind the what, getting to the roots. What tactical things am I going to do? I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to start my day accomplishing something. I'm going to open up my curtains. I'm going to lift my blinds, and I'm going to say, Father, you know the winds that I need today. Thank you for sending the winds from the north, the south, the east, and the west. Thank you for sending the winds. Father, I thank you, and I'm talking about my heavenly Father, that I thank you that I know all things. I know all things, that I'm free from deception today. I thank you for that. That when I hear whispers that don't come from you or that don't line up with productivity and me getting to a better place, God, I am free from deception. I know all things, that you've given me a grace. You are the Father of truth. You've given me a grace to know all things, everything that you know, all truth. And if it doesn't line up with the pattern that you have set for my life, you know what? I'm not going to go there, and I'm free for it. And I can call a spade a spade. I can call a thing a thing. So I first free my mind, tactical, right? I'm setting my course. I'm making that decision. I'm doing things that are going to set me up right. I am going to tactical. I am going to ignore everybody. I am going to ignore everybody. In the morning, I am going to ignore you. I go to bed and I put my phone, people know, my staff, somebody got mad at me this week and they said, I need a response. I am sleeping, so you will get no response until I wake up. And I don't know that you need a response because my phone is on airplane mode. If Pierre Lamar Johnson is going to sleep, I am putting my phone on airplane mode. People say, well, why in the world? What if somebody dies? They're going to be dead when I get up. They're going to be dead when I'm sorry, and if you need me to come and lay hands to raise them up, hopefully you will understand that the same power I got, you can have. And you just ask the Father, but it's healthy boundaries, right? It's healthy boundaries. So being strategic with healthy boundaries, and healthy boundaries, man, that thing is wonderful, because what it does, it sets boundaries and limitations to the amount of time and space and energy that other things and other people can have and take from you, So I had to be strategic with that and really not care about how it was going to affect other people, because it's a healthy boundary for me. My healthy boundary should not affect your health. It's for me. So I had to enact healthy boundaries. And again, just enjoy simplicity. I really tapped into the simple things. Because again, turning the page in life, getting to a better place, it's already something that it takes a lot. It takes a lot. So in the midst of that, to set your mind up and to set your soul up correctly, or in a wise way, I would say, is just really to set healthy boundaries. Start your days accomplishing something. Get yourself in a mindset where you're going to not see yourself as a victim, but you see yourself as a victor, and I am going to get better. I'm going to turn the page. How am I going to do that? I'm going to celebrate something that only myself and God above will know, like making my bed. Ain't nobody gonna know I start my day making my bed. Well, now all y'all know, but it's things like that. And for you, it could be, every day, you doing something else, you sweeping the floor. Embrace simplicity. Simplicity is so key when you are getting ready to go on a journey that has the ability to be long and trying for your mind and your heart.
Okay, someone else. Nancy had a question. I'm trying to find it. She asked, what was the turning point that made you realize you were mean? And then she put, I don't know if I missed it.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, people started telling me, like, boy, you were mean. And then, and then I started, and then once you start hearing things again, I already had a feeling. I'm like, I wasn't so kind with that. And especially it took for me to have to go through those difficult times. You know, Lil Wayne put it so perfectly. He said, "How to love, how to love." You know, and I said, wow, that I had to learn how to love. Remember that God will use and teach you things by using the antithesis of a thing. So if He wants to teach you patience, you go and get stuck in some in some LA or Atlanta traffic. Now, I've never been to either one, but you will get stuck in traffic because God's trying to teach you patience. You know, and for me, I do experience a lack of love so that God could teach me how to love. But after I realized these things and that I was mean, and the turning point was then God, again, He trusted me to start hearing the whispers from others. And yeah, that was it. And then God brought back to my remembrance certain circumstances that, watch this, at one point I thought were funny. But then I said they were funny, but at whose expense? You know, at whose expense was that funny? Was that hilarious? And some of the things that, you know, I mean, every now and then they get a little chuckle out of me, but I really shake my head like, dang. But and then it takes me to a place of prayer. Like, you know, I really hope that the person that I said that to, or the person that I had that moment of engaging with, I hope that they have healed from whatever wound that caused, because at the end of the day, you know, although I may have found it funny and perhaps I did not put God at the beginning of the thought, right? Because I told y'all that is my prayer, that every day, you know, that one of my prayers is, God, let nothing come out of my mouth without putting you at the beginning of the thought. May I not ever forget that people that I will engage with, that they are your children first, that they were your children before they became my staff member or my cousin or a blood relative or a friend or a romantic partner. That's your child. That's your child. You know, to the Karen who started flipping out on me one day when I moved into my new neighborhood and told me that I do not live here. And I said some things to her. When I tell you that thing messed me up, you know, and it was like a quick move. And here is the turning point. So one, you will hear the whispers and you will see things, and you know, you have the ability to be mean, right? You know, because you used to be mean. And sometimes, you know, folks will trigger you, and situations will trigger you. And this woman, she triggered me. And I was just in my car listening to Christmas music. I'm just happy to be back in New Jersey. And she told me she was calling the police. And, you know, and I said, and you know, I don't believe in loud music. And then that mean man came out again. And I didn't have to say to her what I said to her. I did not have to say to her what I said to her. And I remember I went inside and I felt so bad. I went and preached at a church maybe a week later. And I was telling the story to some folks. And they were like, no, Pastor, don't feel bad. She deserved it. She started with you. And I'm like, well, what if she would have gone in? Because what if I would have triggered something with her? And what if she's already feeling some type of way about herself? And then I triggered something, and then she wanted to go and commit suicide. You know, that would mess me up. So ultimately, people have bad days. It's the love of this God that I serve that should always compel, and that should always be the give the marching orders to how I interact. So I hope that answered the question. I know I tell stories and go all around a mulberry bush, but whispers, practicing the pause, remembering stories in moments, and then going back and repeating that cycle. Now let me ask again. Let me ask myself again. Why did I say that? Why did I think that was okay? Now, if I don't think it's okay now, how would I do it differently? And that's where healing begins. Healing and forgiving self from those times and moments of being, you know, unskillful or even mean.
Wow. You also shared you were functioning with a shattered heart. How are you functioning with that shattered heart?
Yeah. Being a skilled thespian, being a skilled actor. I think that one of the things that we learn how to do so well, not as Christians, not as men, not as women, but as people, as pilgrims passing through this earth, is that we know how to act. Oh, we know how to act. You can call it lying, you can call it whatever you want to, but we do know how to put on. We know how to put on a show. And that is how I did it. That it was And it was hard. It was hard. And I think that it makes the journey long and arduous whenever we do that, whenever we choose to continue to keep our actor hats on, when at the end of the day, all we need to do is pause and hear from someone who, who loves us with an everlasting love, who will say, I love you so much that I don't want you to pretend. That I don't want you to pretend, because you owe it to yourself and you owe it to me to not pretend, but to live authentically, to walk and live in your divine authenticity, and to be all that you've been called and purposed and created and placed on earth to be and to do. So how I was functioning terribly. I was functioning terribly, but what gave me the ability to still function was because I kept that actor's hat on. I kept that actor's hat on. And the reality is that broken things can be fixed. When things are shattered, you lose a lot of patience. That you run out of paper clips at work, and it's not a big deal. You run out of paper clips when you are tired. You want to cut everybody's head off. And that's the difference between a broken heart and a shattered heart. Broken anything and shattered, because then shattered is broken into pieces. And sometimes you can't even find all those pieces. But I'm so grateful for a God who will say, come on now, gather up the fragments. Nothing will be wasted. For me, it was literally crazy. And I think that sometimes we can feel things and notice things about ourselves, but we cannot put our finger on it. You know, it's kind of like when I meet people, it's like, you know, I haven't formed an opinion about this person yet. I don't know. It's something there. I don't know, but I'm gonna watch. But I put my finger on it. So for me, for so long, I didn't know what it was. It's like, wait a minute, things should be getting better. Things had gotten better, but had I gotten better? You know, things had increased, but did my soul increase? You know, was my soul beginning to prosper? And it wasn't until that moment where it was like, whoa, your heart is not broken, brother. Your heart needs a healing from being shattered. And then once I got the revelation, I quickly began to move into a place where I had to now deal with that that difficult revelation. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Okay. I know a little over a year ago, you moved down south, right?
Correct.
Do you think moving out of state played a role in you just getting your healing?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Why is
Absolutely.
that?
Because I was around no one. I knew no one. I had no one. I did not want to mingle with the locals. I did not even go to church while I was down there. I did not want to meet anyone. I did not want, you know, so when people make fun and say things, no new friends, I did not want any new friends. I wanted no new friends. Was it a little lonely at times? Perhaps. You know, I can't give a definitive yes, but I needed to be by myself, and I think that that's what life does. Sometimes when we need to heal from broken hearts, from shattered hearts, that sometimes it's just that, listen, your creator is just trying to get you by yourself, because you have been living perhaps under the auspices and the control of what society says is acceptable, of perhaps the goals and the expectations that blood relatives have set for you. Perhaps you have been living and functioning based upon what society says is success. But what do you say success is? What does normal look like to you? What does abnormal look like to you? What are things that you are just not going to experience, and you should not have to experience based upon your definition of normalcy? And I had to get by myself and really answer these tough questions with no one else's input. And I think that I do believe that iron sharpens iron, right? So one man sharpens another. I do believe that we should not neglect meeting together and communicating with one another, engaging with one another, so that we can encourage one another. Because again, we are all here to wrap this thing up. We wrapping this thing up. I mean, I'm waiting for some more stuff to happen that will literally reveal some truth that we have been hearing about all of our lives, about what's going to happen in this next phase of the history of mankind. But I literally had to get by myself, and I didn't realize it, because then it was just, who sang the song? Me, myself, and I, all I got in the end. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I hope it's not a nasty song, but if it is, I mean, that's the only part I remember. But that's the way it was, me, myself, and I. So I was talking to myself, and then I started laughing with myself, and I would intentionally talk to myself and make myself laugh. So I had to do all of those things, but I had to get by myself to really look at myself. The difficult thing. Oh, that's Beyonce. You know what? Yeah, I'm not going. Let me be quiet. But okay, all right. So I had to get by myself to identify myself, right? How is it that I identify in this new phase of life now that my heart is no longer, it's not even broken anymore, but it's shattered? How do I have to, how can I get to, or what do I have to do to keep this train going? And I had to identify myself. I identify with myself. I'm not going to identify based upon past experiences where others have said, done, who left, who stayed, who's somewhat in between. No. I need to do this for me, because me going forward, me walking in healing, means that I've got to walk confidently. Whether it's going to be up to a mountain or whether my next assignment is going to lead me to a valley, I've got to walk confidently. And how do you walk confidently? When you know how bad you are. And I had that, my dad, boy, you a bad somebody. Boy, you a bad somebody. Look at what you've been through. Look at your growth. Look at how you process things that you thought were funny, and now you've changed. It's not funny anymore. That's growth. I don't find it funny. I look back, one of the things I love are Facebook memories. You can see things that you posted 10 years ago. And when I tell you that I privatized so many things, I'm like, whoa, I'm embarrassed. That's growth. That's identifying yourself and really getting to a place where you can say, you know what, I've changed, I've grown. The way that I think has changed. But I got by myself, and that was what did it. Me moving down to South Carolina, and I had to be faithful. Oh, Lord have mercy. That thing, it almost makes my eye twitch. Everything went down. I mean, you talk about flooding and random storms coming off the beach. And it was like, God, did I miss you? I thought you told me to come here. And I didn't get it at first. I really did not get it at first. But it was, time will heal if you allow it. I don't believe that time heals all wounds. But I think that if you give it time and allow the healing to come into the midst of your time and how you are dealing with your time, that you can experience better, and you can experience wounds being healed. And that's what I had to do. So yes, what did it was the fact that I got down there and I was all by myself all the time with no one. There were painful things, painful calls that I received about people that mean the world to me. And I started getting those when I first got down there. When my spiritual mom called me with a difficult, it was a difficult call. And I already knew in my heart and my spirit something was up. And I tossed and turned all night. But it was God, because God said, now I'm going to teach you to be by yourself, even in the midst of difficult moments, because I need you to get to this place again where you only rely on me, where you know that if everyone walks away, you know that you're going to be all right. And then once I got to that place, after really receiving so much that was needed during that time alone, then I was over it. The house is still there. It's empty. I think about my palm trees every day that I just nurse the health. And I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about my palm trees. I want to, I want to get back down and look at my palm trees. But there was a healing that took place, and I needed it, and I'm so grateful for it.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. That was good.
Absolutely.
Nancy said, I delete some old memories and keep some to remind me where I came from.
Wait a minute, hold on. She said, I delete some old what?
Memories and keep some to remind me where I came from.
That's it. That's it. That is it. You put some things in different pots. You have different pots. I call it your now pot, your later pot, and your never pot. And sometimes when it comes to productivity, and Dr. Chad asked this question before, I don't know if he's still on here, but when it comes to strategies, that you put some things in your now pot, your later pot, and your never pot. If in moving forward and getting to a better place, when I think about where I'm trying to get in life, what I'm trying to do, when I think about the healing that needs to take place, let me not go full force, full throttle into this thing that can be overwhelming. I'm gonna put some things in my now pot. What do I need to do right now? What do I need to work on right now? Put some things in my later pot. Later pot is like layaway. Some people don't know what that is. I tried to explain that to some people on my staff, and these little 18-year-olds were like, you're confusing me. But layaway, come on now. I know y'all used to do the layaway over at Caldor. But layaway is just good for me, but it's not good for me right now. So what I had to do, I had to put some things in my now pot. I need to do this right now. Put some things in my later pot. It's good for me, but it's not good for me right now. Now pot, later pot, and then your never pot. Your never pot could be some of those memories, Nancy. I will never experience this again. I've identified the why behind the what. I will never go back to this place. I'm going to put this in my never pot. So, and I'm going to remember, but I'm going to put it in my never pot because I need to remember perhaps the pain and what I went through. It's for a story that I will help somebody else go through, but I'll never experience it again.
Yeah, I remember you talked about that in your book, the different pots.
Yes. Yeah.
Someone said the Zachavelli, still the same energy I saw you in when we first met in Watching Plaza. I don't know.
I have no idea. I didn't get that one. What, there's somebody who knows me who said
It
something
looks
about
like it, yes. I guess you still have the same energy they saw you in when we first met in Watching Plaza. I don't know.
Oh, well, praise God. You know, look, as I said last time, it is me, but it's not me. I am the same, but I'm not the same. I've changed, but then other parts of me have not changed, and whatever energy anybody experienced, it has intensified. But now it's really based upon love and the idea and the that people matter. Wow, Alok, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, wow, wow. What's up, man? Okay, wow, yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh,
wow.
Why do you think it's important for us to let go of the life we pictured for ourselves?
Oh, yeah. I think because sometimes it's those expectations. I think that we have to identify, when was it that you painted that picture? It's almost like, watch this, it's almost like religious books, whether it be the Torah, whether it be the Quran, whether it be the Bible. As you started this session out, go to the root, right? Go to the root. What does this really mean? We're not going to pick out a portion or a passage or a sentence and then we run with that. But let's put it in its original or its purpose context, right? So when we look at and think about, and you ask the question, why is it important to perhaps let go of the picture that we painted in our head of how our lives should be and what they should look like? Who gave you the paintbrush?
Oh.
When I remember I went to, when I was in North Myrtle Beach, and I went to a store and I went to the expensive paint section. And this brother came up to me and said, well, you need to go to the other section because this paint over here is expensive. And I said, my brother, I know because I have been this way before. You know, I know what I'm doing, right? I know the kind of paint that I want. And I think that when it comes to the pictures of our lives that we have painted, you've got to know what you've want. But then you've also got to identify when you've decided what you wanted. What kind of paint did you use? Whose paintbrush did you use? They may not have cleaned their paintbrush. You got to clean paintbrushes real good. You know, where did you go to get your paint? You know, where did you get your canvas? Did you treat the walls correctly? Did you use something cheap to put your paint on? So for me, it was literally, okay, this is what I thought before, right? Because now I'm going to put the timing, the era in context. I'm going to identify, well, I thought I wanted this, or I thought that this is what my life would look like. What brought me there? Who assisted? What assisted in painting that picture? Now, yes, I take responsibility because ultimately no one can paint the picture from my life unless I let them. I literally have the paintbrush. But I'm going to think about, in a part of practicing the pause and getting that healing is when I painted the picture of what success in my life would look like, I had to think about what season was I in? Where was I? Watch this. Who was around me? I remember my mom said something years ago when I was in college, and she said that all of a sudden I had gotten real negative and I had gotten mean. And it was because, and when I thought back, and I remember that she said this to me, I'd been hanging around it's a group of people that we went to the same high school, and then we went to college, to the same college. We all lived on campus. And I had been around these individuals, very negative, mean. And my mom said, yeah, I realized you had gotten real negative. And perhaps I started to paint pictures based upon who was around me. And I think that that's what we do. So it's important to let go of the picture that you painted of how life should be. Why? Because you've grown. And if you're still holding on to that same picture, not the goals, right? Because there are some goals that are deposits. Like, you know, some of you may have heard about the other day, there was a virgin by the name of Mary, and there was a deposit that was placed on the inside of her by the name of Jesus the Christ, right? Some things are deposits, right? Some things are deposits. So I'm not talking about your goals and certain things that you have seen and certain things that, you know, is that dream that just keeps on coming back. It's that idea that won't leave you alone. Oh no, that's a deposit. Hold on to that, but be mindful of where you put it on the canvas. So you have to think about, who have I been around, or who was I around, and what led me to this place that I painted the picture at the time. And the reality is that picture, that painting of that I'm developed as far as how life should be, doesn't represent the growth that I've experienced. My grandmother, one of my grandmothers, Grandma Nessa Baskerville Johnson, she is a Virginia historian. She is an artist. She is a well-known storyteller. She is the first Black woman to be inducted into the Daughters of the Confederacy because she brought the proof that, no, we are descendants of Confederate soldiers. And my aunt did a video of her, an interview the other day, and my aunt asked her, well, Mom, is this painting done? Because my grandmother's an artist. She said, is it done? Or are you still fiddling with it? My grandmother said, yeah, I'm always just doing stuff to it. She said, I'm somewhat of a perfectionist, so I go back and I look again. She said, so it can be done, but I go back and I add more. Why? Why? Because every day is a new day and every season is a new season. So with the picture that you painted of how life should be, have you added more to it? Have you removed some of the things that you put there because it doesn't fit with this new season? So you've got to let go of some things. And like someone said before, holding on to certain memories. That's why it's important to let go of the picture that you have painted as far as how life should be, because the reality is that the picture should be looking different as the seasons change.
Man, yes, that is so true. So let's talk about forgiveness. What did your journey to forgiveness look like after being hurt by your loved ones and like the church community or the Christian community?
Yeah. Hell.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Hell no.
Hmm.
Um, it's yeah, it could. I think there is not the feeling of being deserted is not a good feeling.
No.
It's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible feeling because it makes you wonder, did I really deserve this? Right?
Mhm.
Did I really deserve this? Am I so bad that I deserve this? Um, but that in the same, in the same road, the same avenue, not only was it difficult to process and difficult to see. The truth of the matter is that what I know is that my story is your story. That my story is somebody else's story. The details may be different. My story is somebody else's story. I am not the first to be deserted. I am not the first to be abandoned, right? Somebody else has gone through this. Somebody else will go through this. And I think that for me, because I turned into such an empath and I've turned into such a lover of the creation that we call the human soul, in every human soul, that I just thought, this is so sad. It's so sad, right? But then not only that, I felt bad for the people who did those things and who just may not have known. Listen, I did things to other people that I was literally ignorant. I was just in the unknown. I didn't know. When I was mean, I did not know. I did not know that. That was very mean. It was very unkind. So forgiveness, it was tough. And because first you have to identify what happened before you forgive, right? You admit that you have a problem. You have to admit that you have a problem. That is always the first step. So I do identify, well, what happened? And what happened is not fun. But then when you identify what happened and then dissect that bad boy, and this is why people, I think, usually don't get to a place of real forgiveness, because they do not take the time, not to let time heal, because it won't, right? Time by itself will not heal. You've got to put in the work, but they won't put in the work. Because forgiveness, one of the steps, the prerequisites is that you've got to put in the work to identify what happened. So when people say, well, I'm sorry, all right, and then you say, well, let's talk about it. No, I don't want to talk about it. I'm just sorry. Then all you're going to get is words, right? It's just going to be words. We've got to talk about what happened. What was your process? What was my process? Where were we in that time? Where were you in that time? And then feeling bad and feeling sad for them because of the possibility that they perhaps were taught the wrong thing. They were taught the wrong thing. They weren't taught how to love people. And that's why I don't take advice from, just from any person just because they're old, because old does not mean wise. Old could mean as dumb as this tissue box sitting on my desk. This thing is not wise. It's not, and because oftentimes people who are older were never taught how to love themselves. And why am I going to take advice from people who weren't taught how to love, trying to tell me how to love? So I would start to feel bad, right? And that was a part of the process, the forgiveness process. I would start to pray for them. I would start to pray for the ones who, didn't treat me so well, or the ones who abandoned me. And again, it wasn't easy, because sometimes, when people do things, you no longer be in contact with them. It doesn't mean because you haven't forgiven. Sometimes it just really means because, they have not forgiven themselves, so my prayer is always, Father, let them forgive. Please help them to forgive themselves. Please help them to know that you have forgiven them. But forgiveness, it was difficult. It took a lot of thinking, but it was still so freeing, because again, where you stumble, there your treasure lies. Don't get up without picking up the treasure, right? To fall is not to fail unless you fail to get back up. Always be in the state of being a student. So even in the midst of needing to forgive, it's like I put myself in the student seat. I'm back at the desk at Edgemont Elementary School in Montclair, New Jersey. I'm back at my desk. I'm back at my desk, and I am a student again. Teach me. Teach me how to love. Teach me how to forgive. Teach me how to think. Hello. The thing that is lacking so much in today's world, critical thinking. Teach me how to think critically, so that I can forgive and get to this point of forgiveness. So it was long, it was hard, it was lonely, it was disappointing, it was sad. However, it's so freeing at the end of the day. It's so freeing. And that doesn't mean that I went back to everybody. That doesn't mean that. Forgiveness does not always mean reconciliation. And here comes the deeper and the deepest. Oh, well, you've been given the ministry of reconciliation. So it's like, listen, your heart matters to God. Let your heart matter to you. And some people are not going to get it. And what we have got to do, even on this road to forgiveness, is we've got to understand that everyone has not put in the work like you have. And therefore, what happens is that if you decide that everything is going to be peachy and go back to normal with people that you have forgiven, that you are quite naive, because and you should care enough about your heart to question the legitimacy, to question the authenticity, to question the purpose of every connection that you have with anybody in this life. And you just listen. My friend Coy Curry, my sister, she said sometimes you got to hug them, love them, and leave them. And let me just add this: you got to hug them, love them, forgive them, and leave them. And that's it. So it's freeing in the midst of changed relationships and associations, but I changed. And that's why forgiveness of the church, of people in the body of Christ, forgiveness of others, that's why it's so freeing. And I don't talk to nobody, but I'm still free.
I can't.
I'm joking.
Yeah. So what are some things people should consider before reconciling with someone who has wounded them?
It's like this, right? I tell people, when I took this position running this facility that I'm at, I told the person who gave me the offer, I asked, what's important to you? I don't know what the answer was, but I was clear on my resolve. And I only asked so that I can say what I wanted to say. And I said, this is what's important to me: communication and respect. That's it. Being a good communicator is not being a good talker. Anybody could be gifted to talk. But a part of that is, are you gifted to listen? That is also communication and respect. That we don't have to see eye to eye. We don't have to agree upon everything. But do we agree that my opinion matters as does yours, even though they may differ? So when it comes to reconciling with, with others, that perhaps there was a need for forgiveness, or perhaps that there has been forgiveness, hopefully you'll know that you're coming back to the table, or that you have changed, right? That's what wise people do. We change. Wise people change because we've paused. Wise people pause because they know that they needed to do the work. Wise people know that in order to do the work, you got to identify yourself and identify your why behind the what, so that the what and the how can become better. So a part of coming to the table, I may have changed, but tell me how you've changed. What's new? It could be as simple as that, because you can come to the table with some simple words and some simple questions. I'm cracking up because now some of these names are starting to look a little familiar to me in this chat. So hey y'all, hey everybody. So now I'm going to ask you. I've got some prerequisites, right? Mm-hmm. There's a possibility for reconciliation here. Prerequisites are, what's changed? Tell me what's new in your life. How have you grown? And it's not, people, one of my former deans from this college, he said to me, he cussed me out years ago and said, PJ, you know what? You are like a lawyer without a degree. He said, because the questions that you ask and you just go. My staff accused me of the same thing. They were like, you are a prosecutor. Boom, 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 boom. And sometimes it has to be like that. It just bees like that. that I've got some questions. Why? Because I owe it to my heart. I owe it to my heart to test the validity, the legitimacy of any potential relationship or connection. I owe it to my heart. So I'm gonna ask you some questions. I don't even need to talk. But this step to reconciling, if there has been hurt before, I'm gonna get to know you and you're gonna get to know me. But I'm gonna come to the table with some questions. So I think that we've got to ask the questions, and they don't have to be deep questions, but simple questions. Find out, has someone's thinking changed? Has the thinking changed? Now, sometimes the thinking hasn't changed when they don't bring it up themselves. Because what I do, oh, you're gonna know that I've changed. Oh, you're gonna know. And even if I don't tell you all the ways that I've changed, you're gonna sense it. You are gonna sense it. I told my staff today, it was two Muslim brothers, and I said something. I was telling them a story about going to Starbucks this morning, and I said how there was somebody in there who worked for me at the church that I led for some years, and he was a contract employee, so he wasn't there all the time, but he would come in, and he said, "So hey, so do you go by PJ or Pierre now?" And I said, "Oh, whatever you're feeling." And I just thought that he just knew me because, you know, other people had me when I go into Starbucks, "Hey, PJ," and they give me free coffee. And then, you know, so anyway, so I was telling them the story of my job, and I said, you know, I may not always remember the face, but I'll remember the spirit. I will remember a spirit. I won't always remember your name. I may not always remember your face, but I surely will remember your spirit. And I think that sometimes you come to the table, you can pick up on somebody's spirit. Now, let me say this, you know, if I can be deep for a moment, you got to go into every situation with prayer, you know, with prayer. Well, you call it whatever you want to. You want to call it meditation. You call it whatever you want to. I don't know if everybody believes like I believe, and that's okay. But you call it whatever. But I go into every situation with prayer. You know, God, you know, God, help me to ignore. Help me to ignore. There's this one person at my job. Let's call her Sharon. And I go every day. Ignore Sharon, ignore Sharon, ignore Sharon, ignore Sharon. Why? Because Sharon's a child of God. Because at the end of the day, she may not believe how I believe. She's a child of God. And I've got to make sure that I'm coming in knowing that it's the love of this God that I serve that will compel me in the way that I engage with her. But you can pick up on spirits, and I've got to come in and say, you know what, I want to look at and watch and feel out the spirit, what is coming from their soul. Again, whatever's in you, it always comes out. It's hot going in, hot going out. But then also I want to get into their mode of thinking. How do you think? How do you think? How do you process? How do you process? Talk about world issues. Who knows? Talk about the way that people are treating other people. What are you thinking about? Get into their thinking and see what's different. Because if there's nothing different, then there's nothing different. And oftentimes, and now shut up, with reconciling, an apology, and I posted this, and I probably said this, that God healed me without their apology. And I don't need it anymore. I don't need it. However, if you don't apologize, if you don't bring it up, to me, that means that there's a possibility that you will do it again. Because in your mind, it was okay. It was okay. It was okay. If I run into people that I hurt, that I was mean, that I, whatever, I will most likely bring something up. I ran into another dean a few years back on Route 46 at a grocery store. And I said to her, you know what? I just want to let you know, I didn't apologize because I wasn't sorry. But I said, you know, if I could do that again, I would do it differently. And then she started talking to me about grace. She said, all is forgiven. I wanted to say you were still wrong, but I didn't need her to admit it, right? But I think that sometimes that's what happens, right? God will heal you without their apology. You don't need it. However, they don't bring it up. You know, they could do it again. Same thing that happened with their work. There was a situation at work, and because of a situation that happened, a person came back, never brought anything up. And I said, okay, guess what? 2 days later, did the same thing all over again. What? There was no remorse. There was no change in thinking. And they probably did not do that pausing to reflect, to identify. As the disciples said when Jesus said that one of you would betray me, Lord, is it I? Lord, is it I?
That was good. So let's talk about men and their hearts. So last summer I was asked if I saw myself falling in love or loving again after going through a divorce. And I answered yes, but I told that person that trusting would probably take some time. So I would love to hear a male's perspective. Do you think it's hard for men to love and trust again after a breakup?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I talk to brothers all the time. Yeah, absolutely. At my job, the brothers, everybody calls me Big Bro. I am their boss, and I will get on them. But I give these brothers advice because I know that they were probably raised by brothers who did not give them advice. It's okay to hurt, but it's awesome to heal. I know that absolutely that it is difficult for brothers, like I'm sure it's difficult for females to trust again and believe again and really act upon the hope that they're feeling. Absolutely. Listen, you look at, to be honest with you, I think I heard that one of the biggest numbers of people who are dying alone in nursing homes are Black males.
Wow.
Are Black males. And I think that part of that is not because they're deadbeat dads or because they didn't want to settle down for whatever reason, but simply because they were hurt. They were hurt. And they didn't know that they could heal and that things could get better. Perhaps because they didn't want to do the work. I do think that this generation is going to break that thing. I think that the yoke is going to be broken. I absolutely do. And that people will know it's okay to hurt and it's even better to heal. But first, we got to acknowledge that we're hurting. So I do think that it's difficult for brothers because I talk to so many people and they're like, I don't know if I can trust again. I don't know if I can trust again because contrary to popular belief, men are not the only ones who can do grimy things. Hello, happy birthday.
That's true.
Oh, thank you for acknowledging my sister. Yes.
It's true. Yes.
So it's tough, right? And it's not so much that I think that men fear that someone will repeat an act, right? Or repeat poor behavior. But sometimes it's that we fear the trauma, the blunt force trauma that our hearts will experience again. And I don't want to experience that trauma. Part of it is because I'm a man. So I don't know how I'm going to deal with that trauma in the future. I might go to church and be boo-hooing. I might be sitting at the park and just start boo-hooing. And I'm not supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be strong. I'm supposed to man up. And I don't know, the older I get more sensitive. I don't know how I'm going to deal as I get older and things change. So I don't know if there's really, I'm to be honest with you, I don't really know if there's a difference between processing hurt and being feared to let in again. I think that both sexes go through the same thing. I think that sometimes women are just more prone to communicate openly, how much men suck. No, I'm just kidding. Or how one who perhaps sucked or was on a different journey hurt them. But I think I think the times are changing, and I think that I see more and more men opening up and being real and honest about that process. But yes, absolutely, it is tough for us too. Absolutely, it's very tough for us too. And my hope is that we'll get better at acknowledging that, yes, I'm going through a tough time, it is tough. Again, you didn't ask, but I'll share. But yeah, it was tough for me. It's tough for me. Tough for me. I'm like, nah, I will get a dog. I will get a dog. Because ain't nobody, you're not going to get on my nerves again. You're not going to hurt me again. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it.
Why did it get on your nerves though?
Yeah, get all of it, because that's how it starts. They're
Okay.
gonna break your heart. They're gonna start getting on your nerves.
Got it.
Okay. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
All right. So let's talk about dating. You talked about being intentional when it comes to dating during our last conversation. And I had asked LaShawn this on one of my lives a few weeks back. When did you know you were ready to start dating? You know, go back in these dating streets.
Yeah. Here you go. You're gonna get me in trouble all over again.
That's what I'm here for.
Yes. Envelope pusher, you. Let me put on my glasses now in case I need to look at these comments. Get up in these comments. What y'all saying? Everybody, oh, the church got quiet now. Ain't nobody saying
They
nothing.
did.
Okay.
They did.
All right. So when I healed, okay. I don't know if I said it last time, but I literally, and I say this all the time, I went, I look at Nancy and I look.
Nancy.
I said that I really want to go back to everyone. My divorce was 2015. This was 2015, right? So I'm 36 now. This was 2015. And I really wish I could go back and apologize to everyone that I have ever potentially dated or tried to date, or they tried to date me. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. I don't know if I'm even in contact with any of them, because they probably all hate me now. It's been long enough. Come on now. You have gone around this mountain. I receive it. Long enough. It's time to go northward. It's time to level up. But literally, me knowing that it's been long enough is just that I got content. One, I was content with self. I became content with self. Like I could live this life. I'm good. My pattern is dope. My life is dope. I get to come home to a clean house, put my pillows wherever I want, and they be in the same place when I get back home. Glory to God. Oh shit. Boy, if I decide to leave a bowl in my sink, during the day instead of washing it, it's okay. It won't get on nobody's nerves. It won't get on no one's nerves. And I'm content, right? But again, I had to do that work. And I think that part of knowing that it was okay to start dating again was the realization that I wasn't ready before. That was eye-opening. That was eye-opening. I was not ready. And then now that I do realize that I wasn't ready, let me keep on getting to myself. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me get there, Nancy. Let me get there. I'm going to get there. I had to get to that place where I had to then start to heal, and now get to that place of being content, right? Get to that place of being content. And again, just like Nancy said, because sometimes when you go on the journey, even into a place of obscurity, it's not meant to stress you, but to bless you ultimately, right? But the danger is that sometimes when people journey to a place of obscurity and get to a place where they just need to be left alone with God, need to be left alone with themselves so they can get to know themselves again, what happens is that some people get stuck there. And that's the danger, because then all of a sudden, people who are doing great things, people who were engaging with others in a very productive manner to help increase, the abilities and the love in society, all of a sudden they disappear. I know folks thought that Pierre Lamar Johnson disappeared. I know. But Miss Sophia home now, and things finna change. Things finna change around here. Things finna change. But here's the thing. I didn't get stuck there. I grabbed the treasures. I grabbed the lessons, right? So for me, it was that I had to recognize I wasn't ready before when I dated. I should not have, right? God, please issue apologies some way, somehow. Let this video on Next on Live go in everybody's DM, come across everybody's screen that I ever dated, or tried to date, or they tried to date me, and let them know I's sorry. I's so very, very sorry, because I wasn't ready, right? But then now, because I got to know myself, where I'm going, what I desire, what's important to me, and how people should be treated. It's coming, you know. I'm ready now, and part of being ready is that I'm content. You see, I'm being real careful with my words now. I'm being real careful. You know, and getting to a place where it's like, you know what, whatever, what, I don't know who sang the song. What is for me is for me. What God has for me is for me.
Yes.
You know, and those winds will blow. And those winds will blow, and they will blow because I did not get stuck in that place of obscurity, just being so content with myself. Part of the reason why I came back up here to the Northeast, my doctor said, "All right, black man, you've been by yourself long enough."
Oh.
He said, "You spending too much time by yourself. You are spending too much time by yourself, and it is going to begin to affect you relationally. It is going to begin to affect you mentally." Even your cognitive abilities, it is going to begin to affect you. And I'm like, I ain't trying to be nobody's dumb friend or dumb boo. You know what I mean? My mind, your brain is a muscle. You don't use it, you will lose it. So I said, all right, I have fun laughing with myself and watching movies, take myself on date nights and have Fantasia Fridays where I play Fantasia Barrino. I have fun, but I could not get stuck there. And that was another reason why I said, all right, let me go back up to society with the Northerners, and so I can engage a little bit. Absolutely. Humans are social creatures, and that is the way that we were created. We were created to socialize with one another. We were created by a speaking God to be a speaking people who can think critically and engage and sharpen one another, to encourage one another, to fellowship with one another, and it is so necessary. Absolutely. See,
you watched your answer.
See how Pastor P brought that back in?
All right. We went over, as always. Are you open to a few questions?
Let's go. I'm ready.
Oh,
I waited all month for this.
All right, guys. Ask your questions.
Let's go.
I know I had quite a few questions. So I was like, I'll just save for other people to ask.
All right. Got it.
I know someone had a question earlier, but I'll wait to see. If you have any questions, please put in the chat. So what words of encouragement would you give to someone who is afraid to open up their heart again?
Yeah.
To the possibility of, finding love again?
Yeah. I will say this. What advice, what encouraging words?
Sorry.
What? I want to see. I'm afraid to
Nancy. I can't with you. She said, can I hook you with my cousin now?
I think that Nancy said something about the cousin last time, right?
She sure did. She sure did.
I will answer the question like this. I do not have a private profile. So.
Oh. Well, there you have it.
Well, there you have it. There you go. There you go. Encouraging advice. Here's the thing, right? Here's the truth. I don't blow smoke. I do not sugarcoat. But you might get hurt, right? But you might get your helpmate. Your thinking may sometimes, and your emotions and your feelings may get lost in an experience sometimes. But you also may find love that would cause you to seemingly lose your mind and go crazy, be head over heels in love. Combat the urge and the thoughts that may say, well, what if it goes wrong? And replace those thoughts with encouraging words and say, well, what if it goes right? What if it works out? Replace what if it doesn't work out to what if it does? Replace the thoughts that perhaps could have been from these brothers who sat outside of a city gate and there was no food in the city. And they knew that if they were to go back in the city, there was nothing there so that they could survive. But they also had the decision to go after what was rich, what was available, but it was in the hands of the enemy. But they had the thought and the idea that why sit here until we die? Here are my encouraging words to those that perhaps are thinking, you know, maybe I can do this love thing again. Why sit here until you die? Why wait around? Somebody out here is going to love, is going to love you, is going to love the heck out of you. Somebody out here is going to love you real good. Somebody out here is going to make you feel like the beautiful, amazing person that you are. Somebody out here is going to show you a beautiful part of your soul and your heart that you didn't even know existed. Somebody out here is going to show you that your toes are cute, that your skin is bright, that your ears are the perfect size, and that your nose hairs make their ears tingle. Somebody out here is going to be the lid to your pot. Somebody out here is going to be the garlic in your salad. Somebody out here is going to be for you. Why sit here until you die? Why sit around wasting time? I said it before. I'll say it again. I say it to my staff every day. One thing that we are all running out of is time. So at the end of my book, I wrote a note, a letter, and I reminded a young lady today who's going through divorce. And she said she has a son. And I happened to see her today because I stayed a little later. I stayed later because I knew I had this interview on Next On Live, and I didn't want to come home and go to sleep, so I stayed later at work. And I happened to see her. You're very welcome. I happened to see her, and I said, "How's your baby boy? How's your son doing?" Because I also have a son and who had a difficult time when his parents divorced because he's a daddy's boy, and he don't like to see daddy hurt. Can't nobody talk about daddy, all this other stuff. And I told her about this letter. And one of the things at the end of the letter, I say every day, take a moment to look at the sunrise. Take a moment, even if you don't do it every day. Wake up sometime. Wake up early, people, on a Saturday morning. Go back to sleep afterwards. Watch the sunrise and know that it rises up with you and for you. Accept the warmth, accept the comfort, accept the love, and keep living. So to you who are contemplating, thinking about loving again, opening up yourself to the possibility of loving again, look at the sunrise. You have the ability to rise with it. And we're all running out of time. We're running out of time. And take advantage of it because somebody out there is for you. And there's a wonderful partner out there for you. So in the words of that woman, on the train in Queens when Prince Hakeem was on there. I leave you with these words, with this question. Go on, honey, take a chance. Take a chance. Take a chance. You deserve it. You deserve it. You owe yourself that. Take a chance.
All right, PJ.
Hey, Gibble. Yeah.
Wow, that was good.
And let me also say this while I'm on the subject. 'Cause I talk to these little young people in my job about dating and stuff like that. They blow my mind. Let me just say this. I'm sorry. You know I'm somebody's dad.
Yeah.
Let me say, I've got to. Let me drop a little revelation knowledge.
Okay.
There are people, right? Let go. Listen, I understand. There are certain things that will tickle your fancy. But let go. Again, let's go back to that picture that you asked about before. Let go of that picture that you painted before of what your man or your woman would look like.
Wow.
Of the education that they would have. Of the success that they have achieved. Hello, happy birthday. Let go of that. Because watch this. The thing that is the one that may cause your ears to tingle and your toes curl, just by a hello, the one that is going to have you at hello and you have them, they may look like something totally different. Get rid of that picture. Listen, you may have your non-negotiables, okay, but what are they based upon? What are they based upon? What are they based upon? Because somebody's going to rock your world. Somebody's going to rock your world. And if you are opening up yourself to the possibility of somebody rocking your world, check your picture. Check your picture and go back to, when did I paint this picture? What's the context here? What season was I in? Who was influencing me? Right? Right? And that's it. Because the end result may be different than what you thought. May be different than what you thought. Perhaps you don't need someone with 18 degrees. Perhaps you just need somebody with a passion, a love for God, a love for people, empathy, and in a job that brings in money. Hallelujah.
That was good. So do you think, so I've listened to quite a few podcasts on relationships, and I've heard a lot of people talking about purpose partners. What are your thoughts on that?
Now, please educate me. A purpose partner. A purpose partner is what? Let me take notes.
I guess someone whose purpose is in alignment with your purpose, so like the purpose that God has for you. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a part of what I think we've got to pay attention.
Okay.
I'm gonna say this, and there's one person that makes me cry at and that's my spiritual mom, who's my mom, and everybody knows that. Angel Carlos, and she said to me a while ago, and we were talking about somebody, some well-known person, and she said, Pierre, you know why he likes you? Because you pay attention. You pay attention. And I think that we've got to pay attention, right? And when it comes to purpose partners, and I think that with the one that is for you, and the one that you have the ability to be with, oh no, they will be a purpose partner. But here's what you got to do. To know that, you've got to pay attention. You've got to listen to the whispers, because some way, somehow, they are going to whisper about your purpose. You're getting to know each other, but there are going to be whispers about your purpose. You don't know every detail of your experience, but they're going to whisper about your purpose. There will be encouragement. There will be a little bit of correction, and they may, as you're getting to know each other, they will hear whispers about your purpose, and they may, say some things to you, and you got to pay attention, because when you start hearing those whispers, and the ones who have the ability to be purpose partners, you better open up your eyes, brother. You better open up your eyes, sister, because somebody's going to challenge you. And here's the thing. It may not, a purpose partner, they will align with your thinking. If you have gotten to a place like me, I've gotten to a place where it's like, you know what? Love God, empathize with the world. I ain't judging nobody. You do whatever you got to do to live a purposeful life, right? Just as long as it doesn't, mess with your health and others and stuff like that. Like, everything in moderation, in the words of Maya Angelou. But even in that, you got to have moderation and moderation, not too much moderation. But so live your life, have a good time. But I don't even know where I was going with that moderation thing. But the purpose partner will, there will be subtle whispers, and you just got to pay attention. You've got to listen for it, and they will challenge you. So now I remember. I'm somebody's daddy, and I worked all day. Purpose partner, they will, even in your thinking, they will come into agreement and encourage you in the area of this open mind. And so I've been getting to this place of more open mind, and because this is what God has been allowing me to do, to really speak to people who believe all different types of things. My truth is my truth, right? But the way that God has changed my communication and challenged my thinking is that others know, oh, he doesn't mind if I don't agree the same, but he sees me. President Bill Clinton told the story when he was in a little village in South Africa years ago, and they didn't do that American thing. Hey, how are you? As a means to say hello. But he said in this little village in South Africa, they said, I see you, to let you know that you matter. So for me, what has happened in my life, because of years of feeling like I did not matter based upon the treatment of others and the abandonment that I experienced, you know, it matters to me that I treat people like they matter, because they do. And that means that I've opened my mind up to not believe in everything that everybody believes now. However, still be able to respect and communicate and meet them where they are, so that they can see where I am and my heart is. And there's a commonality there. There's a common denominator somewhere. And a purpose. So for me, I know that that's a part of my purpose right now with everything that I have going on, all the things that I'm doing and going to do, is that a purpose partner will whisper about that. Unbeknownst to them, what's happening here and what's happening here, unbeknownst to them. But a purpose partner, boy, a purpose partner make you want to go on a date. Oh yeah, Fantasia said, I'm gonna flirt with somebody when they walk by. I'm gonna flirt with somebody. Yeah, that's what she said. She's a prophet. She said, I'm gonna flirt with somebody. And you know, a purpose partner, you hear a whisper from a purpose partner, you better start flirting. You better start flirting. Go ahead, Saints. It ain't too deep.
Oh my gosh, that was good. Did anyone have, or does anyone have any more questions before we let them go?
Not one person asked me for my phone number. I am offended. Offended.
Wait.
Offended.
Wait.
No,
so you're okay with a lady asking for your phone number?
Wait a minute. I know some strong women. Listen.
Okay.
Listen, let me tell you something. Okay. New York women are strong. So y'all, yes. And anybody from New York is strong. Anymore in New York. Yes. So anyway, no, yeah, I think we got to do this. And let me just see now you got me. I think that for all those who want to date, for all those who are interested, and you have done the work, you have done your self-work, you literally have to let go of, again, that picture. And part of the part of, be careful what you wish for, a part of opening up yourself after you've done that soul work, that I've identified the why behind the what, so that the what and the how can get better. A part of practicing the pause means that also I've got to let go of this idea of what gender roles are. I'm not about that nonsense, you know, because let me tell you something. Some of the folks who will live a life in a dating life and whose, I'm going to use it again, their dating life will be long and arduous, are those who still have painted this picture and have held on to their great-grandmother's picture of what a man is supposed to do, of what a man is supposed to be, and what a woman is supposed to do, and a woman is supposed to be. My friend Al, who is relocated, him and his family, his wife and his son, down to Georgia, and Al Brooks, he said that America does not celebrate and acknowledge and support teachers because they do not support a woman's work, right? But this is a part of this idea of gender roles, and this teaching is a woman's work. Being in the house, cooking and cleaning is a woman's work. The man goes out and provides. You want to see me run? Come to me with some gender roles. Because that's a closed-minded person. I did not go through all that I've gone through, practice the pause, done my self-work, have healed when others had written me off, and at times I've written myself off, just to come back into a place that is the opposite of what Toni Morrison said, that life is big, life is grand, and we've made life small. To go back into a situation where I'm going to come back and be around people, whether romantic or platonic, who will make life small. I've experienced the just how big life can be and is, and I think that that's something that if you want to get back out there, get some friends. Don't box them in. Or yourself. So anyway, so ask for my number. The dog can ask for my number. I may not give it to the dog, but the dog, the cat, the rat can ask for my number. Wow.
All right, ladies. Life is big and grand, yes.
Yes, it is.
All right. I'm trying to find a question. Someone asked a question earlier. Oh my gosh, where is it?
973-744-1234.
Wait, what? That's the police.
The fact that you know that, you are from Montclair, New Jersey. The fact that you know the number to the Montclair police station by heart. I give it there now.
Are you serious?
And I'm not even in North Jersey, but praise God. Yeah.
It's so messed up. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay, I found it. This is going back to Dr. Chad. How do you manage your triggers and past traumas in your interactions with others? How does it play out in your life, in relationship, pastoring, and parenthood?
Yeah, I use my words. There is a picture here in front of my desk, right? That my boss said to me. He said, "I want that. I want that to go in the nursery from my baby because the baby's coming. I want that." And I said, this grown man told me that as a grown man, the picture that I have above my desk, he wants to put in his child's nursery. And I told him, I said, the reason why I have that, and all it is a picture of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P. It's the whole alphabet. And I have that there because something that I say to myself, use your words. Use your words. So how do you get through? How do you manage triggers from past hurts? I'm repeating the question in the sense you just nod at me if I'm on the right track to answer the question. Triggers from past hurts, relationships. How do I manage those triggers and still function and move forward? Right? Something like that.
I think so, yeah.
I use my words. You got to talk about it. Again, I don't know if I said this last week. This is what I taught. Some of y'all know I used to be a reverend. And I told my church when I was going through, right? When I was going through a difficult season, it's my last couple of years there. And I taught them something. I told them something, and you probably read this in the book. 5 things. How do you deal with those triggers? You talk about it first and foremost. Use your words. Talk about it. Yeah, listen, you're one tough conversation away from your next level of growth. If you believe in a higher power, yes, you have that tough conversation with your higher power. Mine is God, Yahweh. I call him Abba, Father. I have that tough conversation with God. I have tough conversations with myself. Tough conversations with others if I need to. But I talk about it. Use your words. So you tell my son, use your words. This is what I tell my staff. Use your words. You don't have to make faces. Yes, I know. Now that's not mean. A little condescending. God's still working on me, but it's not mean. I don't think it is. Check me. But I say use your words, right? So you talk about it, right? You pray about it. Watch this. You forgive. You cover with love. Love covers a multitude of faults. It doesn't mean that the faults are going to cease, but it means that love covers. You cover with love. We're not trying to expose faults. And I'm talking about yours and others. So in dealing with those triggers, you cover yourself. Hello, happy birthday. You encourage yourself. I'm going to cover myself with love. Get into the mirror and smile. Your teeth may be a little stained from some turmeric and some black coffee, but go in there and talk about how pretty your own teeth are. Look in the mirror. Look, talk about it. Pray about it. Forgive. Cover with love. And watch this. Move on. 5 things. I talk about it. Pray about it. Forgive. Cover with love. And then I move on. How do I deal with the triggers from past hurts and traumas? I talk about it. Pray about it. forgive, cover with love, and then I move on. That doesn't mean that you're never going to come back, but it means that when I do talk about this again, when those triggers, when something triggers me and brings me back to a painful memory, it's not going to continually affect me the way it did before. It is no longer a trauma. It is a treasure. That's good to me. It's no longer a trauma. It is a treasure. Divorce, it was traumatic. Being cast out from the family, it was traumatic. My God, losing dreams and things that I worked so hard for, it was traumatic. But I talked about it. I prayed about it. I forgave others and myself. I covered myself and others with love. I decided to move on. That moving on, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to have the triggers. It just means that sometimes I got to repeat the cycle of those 5. Come back again. And what I'll see is that as triggers arise, that trauma doesn't affect me like it did before in a negative way, because now I see it as a treasure.
Amen. Wow, that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. And if you didn't get the
Fresh
book,
off
it's
the
still
dome.
a copy. Oh.
Yeah.
All right. I don't think I saw any more questions. And Suzette, no, I did not give guys that number. I just know that number by heart. You learned it in elementary school.
Yes, absolutely. You from Montclair, New Jersey? You gonna know the number to the Montclair Police Department.
Yeah.
And I know the Board of Education. I'm starting to give out that one. 973-509.
Yeah.
Is it 4,000 or is that Montclair High School? I think it's
4,000. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we end, any last words of encouragement or wisdom you would like to leave with our wonderful guests here?
Sure. Show yourself mercy and be kind to yourself at the end of the day, right? Be kind to yourself and know that you is that Suzette? Beni histoire de vie Jésus, Suzette. Beni histoire de yes. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And be kind to others. You never know when the last time a person got a hug was. And so this is all part, I'm a dad, so I always got a dad story. There was an employee who tried to hug me. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. And I'm like, I mean, thank God. Now it was right in front it was in the office, so there are cameras there. And this individual said, what, no hug? Why would you think that I'm gonna hug you? Right? Why would you think I'm gonna hug you? But I walked out and I thought to myself, I don't know when the last time this young lady got a hug. That don't mean I'm gonna hug her. I'm gonna send somebody to hug her. But I gave her encouraging words a little later, and because let me be Pastor P as I close. There's a scripture. It says, Jeremiah, don't be afraid of their faces, for I have already delivered you from them. Sometimes we've got to look beyond people's faces and what they present, right? Because we're all thespians. We all acting. We all have put on an act. Some way, somehow, somewhere. We all going through something no one knows about. There's an act. But we've got to be able and be willing to look beyond the faces and look beyond what's visible when the curtains are open on the stage. Touch base with their spirit, right? My hope for you is that as you do that with others, that you'll first do that with yourself. That you will be So, somebody who just wrote a comment. Someone who just wrote a comment, and I'm going to say this because it goes right along with what I was saying, right? I drove all the way. I was living in North Jersey. And and I know who you are. I already see you. I can't even see the name. And I was in North Jersey, and I came all the way down to encourage a mentee of mine who was married at the time. And he was going through a very difficult time. And I was encouraging him at Somerset Diner on Easton Avenue. And I was talking to him about the spirit of the python. And I was encouraging him. And I was saying, this is how the enemy does. He tries to choke you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And suck life out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And little did I know that there was a woman sitting behind us who was listening to everything that I was encouraging him with. I didn't even think that she was able to hear. And I saw her sitting over there with tears in her eyes. And at the end of it, I had told, when I went to go and pay for the bill, I told, at the diner, you got to get up and pay for the bill. And I said, I want to pay for that woman's meal back there. I want to pay for it. And they said, she already came to pay for your meal. Oh. Now she's telling her story, so I can say it. It was her birthday, and she was having a tough day. And it's so amazing that she is commenting right now, because that's my hope for all of us, that we'll be kind to other people, but we'll also be kind to ourselves. And that we don't know when the last time somebody got a hug was. Some people are out here afraid of COVID. We don't know the last time somebody heard the words, I'm so proud of you, right? But I also encourage you, again, like I started off by saying, show grace and mercy to yourself. Be kind to yourself. The other day, I pulled up and just looking at the grass and the trees. I found an open field. And you know what I did? I just started hugging myself. I really did. I just started hugging myself. Now, anybody knows anything about me, I don't like people to touch me. I don't. I really. Now, my love language, number one, quality time. Number two, physical touch. That's how I receive love. People, my friends say, that is not your love language. You don't like people to touch you. You don't like people to get close to you. But that is how I'm a touchy-feely person, right? We gonna touch. And I will get close. But how I show love, number one, is acts of service. But, the other day, I just had to encourage myself. And I sat in front of this field, and I just started hugging myself. And it's like, it's been a while. I hug myself. And my son is in Hawaii right now. He gives daddy the best of it. He'll hug me and won't let go. Like, he'll choke me. Like, that's what he does. He chokes me. And he won't let go because he loves his daddy. But be kind to others. Be kind to yourself, because perhaps one day you'll be led to go and sit at a diner, to have a conversation, to talk about it, to pray about it, to forgive, to cover with love, and perhaps move on from difficult things. And as you do that, to be kind to yourself, perhaps you don't know the others that will be sitting behind you, not having a great day, and who will need to hear your encouraging words. So be kind to yourself, absolutely. And as you're kind to yourself, also know that the ramifications of you showing yourself grace and mercy, trust and believe, is going to benefit somebody else who may be listening. I leave you with the words that are over in Hebrews. Be kind, because some of you have entertained angels unaware. And let me just say that some of you are other people's angels walking upon the earth. And as my son said to me years ago after a horrible car accident, he said, Daddy, some of the angels have already arrived. So I encourage you with those words. Love well, love yourself, love others, love God, empathize with the world, and the best is yet to come. That's all I got.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you again for joining me for this chat. And we went over, wow, It's late.
All right. Thank you for having me again.
It's my
You.
pleasure. If you guys haven't purchased his book, it's available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. What's the title again?
Crap lingers when you don't wipe.
Oh. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening and see you next time. Thank you again. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.